How much investment will you need to start up your home organizing business? Is it expensive to start an organizing business? And what should you include in your business plan if you are thinking about working in this industry? This video is all about what I spend on my professional organizing business. Hi, I'm professional organizer Katherine Lawrence. If you are new here, welcome. If you are just starting out as a professional organizer or even thinking about this industry, you'll want to subscribe to this channel. This is the third of 5 videos I'm doing on business basics for professional organizers. You can click here for that entire playlist or subscribe and click the bell to be notified when the next video becomes available. I've spent over 20 years in this industry and really enjoy helping others launch their businesses and talk about all the things you'll need to know when launching and growing your home organizing business. I have been wanting to do a budget video for a while, but my business has been changing a lot over the last 5 years as I'm transitioning into more of a virtual and online coaching business. So I thought I would approach this by giving you a list of the categories of things I spent money on when I was working solely as an in-home organizer. If you are organizing as a side hustle, you may not even have a budget, but it's an absolute must if you want professional organizing to be your full-time career and adjust your rates based on your expenses. So it's good to know before you quote prices for too many clients. Also, pricing has changed over the years, and things like the cost of insurance and business licenses change by location. So I'm mainly giving you the categories to include in your budget and what you should research to find the exact costs based on your location and the type of business you're running. If you would like additional video tutorials and worksheets, I've put a link to my course, Selling Organization, in the description below. Okay, let's get started. Our first category is accounting and tax prep. Definitely meet with an accountant when planning your business and get some numbers. And I should also mention that I am not an accountant and do not take any of this as tax advice, but I definitely want to highlight some categories that could potentially be tax deductible for your business if you are in the US. And your exact expense will vary by the size and type of your business. I am currently only paying for QuickBooks and TurboTax, but when I had more employees and contractors, I had a CPA firm do our taxes and run payroll every 2 weeks. So these fees were a few $100s a month, and now I would say I'm averaging closer to $100 a month. Advertising and promotions. In this category, you want to look at things like hosting a website, printing business cards. When I started out, I joined networking groups and spent a few $100s a year on that expense. You will probably set a higher budget for this during your startup period, and later you'll hopefully work off referrals and repeat business. I spend almost nothing on advertising my service business now, but definitely spent a few thousand in my first 2 years in business. Bank charges. So when you're setting up your business checking account, and I definitely recommend keeping your business expenses separate from your personal expenses. Find out if your bank charges any monthly fees. Find out the cost for ordering checks if you're going to be doing that, and also the fees that you're going to be paying for accepting credit cards in your business. Computer services and supplies. One of the benefits of owning a business in the US is that many of your expenses are tax deductible once your business is set up as a legit business. So expenses in this category are high for me because my business owns my laptop, my tablet, my cell phone, and I like to keep my tech gear up to date. If I were starting a business today and I did not own these things already, I could definitely spend a few $1,000s here, but it's likely you already have some basic technology, so come up with a number that makes sense for you. Dues and subscriptions. I have been a member of NAPO, which is the National Association of Productivity and Organizing Professionals, since I became an organizer in 2002. So I do pay annual dues. I'm also a KonMari consultant, and there's an annual fee for that. So I would say I'm paying around $800 per year in this category. And of course, this amount will vary depending on if you join groups or how many groups you join. Insurance premiums. I am lucky on this one because my agent has not increased my premium prices in over a decade. So I'm paying less than $500 a year. I hope they don't see this video and decide to increase my rates. But my students are reporting annual premiums much higher than that, maybe in the 500 to 1,000 range. But this number will vary greatly based on the types of services you offer. For example, I never use power tools in my clients' homes, so I refer them to a company that does like closet installs. But I have a colleague who prefers to hire a subcontractor, so her client pays for business for those installs. So she is at a much higher risk of, some type of incident, so she is paying higher insurance premiums. It's usually free to talk to an insurance agent for peace of mind and to get some numbers, so don't be afraid to do that and just do a little research. Okay, next we have legal fees. My business is an LLC, and I did hire a lawyer to set that up, but that was a one-time fee, and now I pay an annual fee, which where I live is only about $50 a year. Please do your research on this one, because I have heard that some states charge a much higher annual fee to own a company. So that number is definitely going to factor into how much you charge for your services and just what your overall budget looks like. If you are new to business ownership, do not be afraid to do your research. Honestly, it is much better to know these things than to be hit later with some unexpected expense that will derail your business. And also, you don't want to charge too little for your services and then realize that you're going to have these business expenses and then, not be able to work out those numbers. You can figure out all this stuff in a few weeks and then just make a few adjustments later. Meals. So I do most of my networking over Zoom now, but there was a time when I did a lot of lunches and coffees and just meetings to network with other business owners so that we could pass referrals. Next, we have office expenses. This is a tiny number for me. I think one year recently, I only spent like $150. I've bought things like a desk or an office chair, but it's not like these are annual expenses. Here's something to think about. Payroll. I do pay myself as an employee, so my paycheck is an expense to the business. Talk to your lawyer and accountant about this one and decide how you're going to operate. Just keep in mind that the money you collect from a client is not your salary, since you will want to offset those fees by calculating how much it costs to run your business. Postage, printing, and copying. Very low expenses here. Sometimes I send out postcards or note cards to my clients, or I print worksheets if I'm giving a workshop. Think about if you're going to have any rent fees. I did rent office space when I was managing a large team because it was just too much for everyone to come to my house. And before 2020, I was using a co-working space a few days a week. But most of the time in my business, I operated out of a spare bedroom in my home, which is just fine. So currently this cost is zero for me right now. I did a video on what is in my organizer's tool bag. I'll link that here. If you bought everything new in that video, you might be looking at, $100, maybe $200. But it's really important to bill your clients for supplies as well. Like I keep clear lawn and leaf bags and Ziploc bags and label tape, with my supplies. But if I am doing a very large job where I'm doing tons of labels and using, dozens or hundreds of bags, not just one or two, I'm charging those supplies to my client. And of course, you're always billing your clients for the containers that you place permanently in their home. Are you going to have to pay for a business license? This depends on where your business is located. My fee was usually under $50 a year for having a business license. Your phone. Definitely talk to your accountant on this one, but you may be able to have your business cover a portion of your monthly bill or all of your bill, depending on if you have a separate line for your business. I used to have 2 cell phones, and so it was really easy to calculate which was business and which was personal. Now I just have 1 phone, so I have to kind of split up that bill. Training and education. I am a huge believer in lifelong learning, and I continue to take training courses almost every year I've been in business. I've also attended a lot of conferences through NAPO and ICD, which is the Institute for Challenging Disorganization. So for me, I have spent thousands of dollars on training over the last 2 decades. If I were starting out today, I would take a course like Selling Organization, since it covers marketing, business planning, and proven client process, and it's designed for you to get paying clients really fast, not sit in training for months before you take on your first job. This course is around $500, and then after you have a little bit of income, I would bump that budget up to $1,000 or $1,500, and you can look into training from ICD or NAPO for continuing education and pay for that out of the income you are making from those first clients. If you wanted to do the KonMari certification program, I believe it's still priced in the $2,000 range for the certification workshop. Your vehicle. Another ask your accountant question. You can calculate vehicle expenses a few different ways. I track my mileage between my home office and my client's house. So obviously you have this expense because you are taking on work. And so that income is going to offset the price that you spend to maintain your car. But it's a good idea if you're like me and you want your business to reimburse you for that expense to start tracking those miles between your home office or your office, wherever that may be, and your client's house. Lastly, we have uniforms. I think this one is really optional. I have spent maybe $500 on this over the last few years. When I had employees, we would sometimes wear logoed shirts. Now the only time I wear logo wear is when I'm working on Hoarders, because it's on Netflix and that is free advertising. Okay, I think that is it. But if I missed something, please let me know in the comments. Be sure to check out last week's video on pricing strategies for professional organizers. Please like and subscribe for more videos on decluttering, downsizing, and the business of organizing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.